on the pitch, there are still players who are angry about the outcome, and Pep Guardiola is in the midst of it all, talking to some of those Leeds United players. And a couple of those Leeds players were the ones actually who were going over. Carl Darlow was in there, Ethan Ampadu, who were trying to kind of nudge Daniel Farke away from the referee at the final whistle. But we saw him absolutely pelt towards the referee. Whatever he said, the referee had his red card in the air before Daniel Farke even reached him. But those Leeds players now dispersing to kind of applaud their home fans, the Manchester City fans making their way over to the Manchester City players rather making their way over to the City fans. Those City players exhausted at the end of that game, Micah. The 3 points are the most important thing. They moved to within 2 of Arsenal, but it looked like that took a lot out of them.
Yeah, I think it did. I thought Man City in the whole game were excellent. Not in terms of that free-flowing football we used to seeing in the past, but just can you dig in and can you find a way to win the game? You knew the tension was going to be there at Ellen Road. The fans are brilliant there. The atmosphere, always electric. And they know now that is a big result because Arsenal are at Chelsea tomorrow. At this stage of the season, Kels, it's just about, it doesn't really matter how you play. It's about getting over the line, giving everything in the game, and they did that today. I thought, as a group.
And they did it against Newcastle as well, Micah. There were sort of quite frantic scenes towards the end of that one as well. Is the pattern at all worrying to you?
Well, I think in terms of when they concede in the second half, it is a little bit worrying, but that's why today was such a massive performance, because Leeds applied that pressure towards the end, and I thought Ruben Dias was outstanding. He won everything in that box, and it's just, have you got that little bit of quality like Semenyo goal to get over the line? Because Leeds were knocking. There was knocking all game. I mean, I think it was better in that first half, especially for the chances. But in the second half, I just thought on that counter-attack, could they create something? Could Man City deal with it? And I thought they dealt with everything perfectly tonight.
8 wins in the last 9 for Manchester City, including in this game. But we should give credit, Stuart, to Leeds and the performance that they put in.
Yeah, Leeds were fantastic, especially in the first half. They really took a game to City. But City then done really well to sort of calm it down a bit and sort of take control of the game. But both teams put a lot into the game. You see by the reaction of the players after the game, City players lying on the pitch, exhausted from what they put in. So it feels like it's a big win for City. For Leeds, it's a decent performance that they can take a lot of heart and that from that. So it's they have a big game now against Sunderland midweek, and hopefully they can come out in the end of it with a win then.
So having been given the red card, Daniel Farke is taking the long route off the pitch and making sure that he applauds those Leeds United fans. This is what we've seen already this weekend. The Friday night football was a 2-0 victory for Wolves against Aston Villa. In the early kick-off today, finished Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 1. Extraordinary game at Turf Moor. Brentford were 3-0 up. Burnley got it back to 3-3. Then Brentford got a 4th to take all 3 points, but only just, because with almost the last kick of the game, Burnley had the ball in the net. It took a 6-minute stoppage for VAR to have a look at it and rule that goal out. You can have a look at that decision and all the goals, remember, on the Sky Sports app by scanning the QR code. Liverpool's 5-2 result against West Ham, probably not a reflection of the balance of that game, but a very comfortable 5-2 victory on paper at least. And Newcastle beaten 3-2 at home by Everton. Loads of goals for you to cast your eye over on the Sky Sports app, including that one for Manchester City against Leeds United. And what that means is that ahead of Arsenal's game tomorrow, Manchester City move back to within 2 points of the league leaders. And because they have that game coming against them in April, it is all to play for. Not much in it in terms of the goal difference either. Results today meant, and particularly that defeat for West Ham, meant that Leeds were still relatively comfortable in the table even before this game against Manchester City kicked off. It's a 6-point gap between West Ham and Leeds United, who remain in 15th place in the table. And there is a big game in Scotland tomorrow. His teammates saying, actually, when you're playing with great players, sometimes understanding what they're going to do next, it can be the problem. But his awareness of where these players are going to be, he said, you're playing with great players makes life easier for him. But it's the awareness of what they're going to do, Micah.
Yeah, I think the most important thing, we've got to show Shirky there. He was playing more in those positions, but because Leeds were so compact, he found himself out wide. And I just want you to look at Mamouche. I mean, we talked about him before off air in how clever he is. When you've not got Haaland, who's a target man, you need someone who can make clever movement. So if we roll that on slowly there, he just pop. If we go back there, just stop there. It was brilliant because he's saying if he could just get it on the point, he knows exactly where he's going. Roll it on slowly, and just until you see that point, he knows this is where the space is now, because he's now in the mind, he's lost his man, he probably should be in this position, but because we know him on the ball, Shirky is such a genius, now that little run from Mamouche opens up that space for Aït-Nouri, and there's the run we're talking about. Exactly what Stuart talked about in terms of everyone wants the ball to feet. You'll get goals at the back post. You mentioned Sterling. He was the master at it. And when you've got well-worked goal in terms of the rotations, someone coming in, someone going out, and someone being on the end of it. Brilliantly worked.
Yeah, he's settling so well and has settled in so well to life at Manchester City. We saw at the final whistle, Daniel Farke was given a red card. He was very angry with the refereeing team. We've not heard from him yet, but this is one of the instances where
what he's frustrated at. I've never seen him like that before, but you just see here, there's a push in the back of the match. It's hard to tell sort of from that angle, isn't it, whether it hits Diaz or hits Nunez
yeah.
on the arm. You maybe see it better from this position here.
What Match Centre have said is they believe it's a natural position for the action that he's completing.
I mean, I think he possibly thinks that it's going to be cleared before. It's hard, you can't... I don't know.
So
I think it would be harsh if it was given.
One is, would it be harsh to give it? And the second one is, have we seen them given in the Premier League this season? Is it consistent with other handball decisions that we've seen so far this season? So the first one is, do you think it should be given? And the second one is, has it been given so far this season?
I don't think it should be given because of that contact from Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't get that contact, he stays in his position, he goes up for a header. As soon as he engages and makes that contact, now it becomes natural to have your hands in that position.
Yeah.
To your wider point, you've seen penalties given for that, and that's the inconsistency we constantly talk about.
The only reason I'm asking that is because his arm is here.
Yeah, but Calvert-Lewin's got his hand on him, which makes you automatically bring your arms up. So I don't know. I personally think, and listen, I could come at it from a Leeds point of view. I think it would have been really harsh to give that as a penalty. It'll be interesting to hear what Daniel's frustrated about. I know there was possibly a stamp on this side on Gruev from Shirky. Let's hear what he has to say before we...
The red card. We won't hear from him because of the red card, which I was saying, I forgot about earlier on. We were talking about the red card and I was like, we'll hear what he thinks about it. We won't, because so many chances created. They put City under real pressure. But you said it at half-time, Stuart, if you are going to put City under pressure, you have to capitalise on that. Yeah,
you've got to take your chances, and Leeds put so much energy into the first 30 minutes especially. Calvert-Lewin obviously with two big chances, and listen, we can't be in it possibly on another day. Again, it's good defending from Mark A, but Leeds were really aggressive and probably played how we expected them to start the game. This one, I think, it probably would have been called back. Brendan's offside, but again, it's a good save from Donnarumma, who tends to make big saves at big moments.
The City as well, and the only thing they didn't have was that final touch, that little bit of composure when they needed it. Again, and they're doing this against Man City. Sometimes Man City could be very vulnerable, especially in that first half when they're holding that high line. But you've got to take one of those chances. It wasn't meant to be, and then Man City capitalised. 6
shots in the second half, none of them on target. In the first half, it was 8 shots, which is the most City have faced in a first half so far this season. But at the other end, Karl Darlow's had a bit of a tough streak.
Yeah, I mean, Karl he's been in, he's been out, he's been back in again. He's done well. He's come under a bit of criticism, of course he has. But listen, he's making big saves at big moments. He had one last week against Aston Villa as well. And for me, he's been brilliant. That is a fantastic save there, and that's what you need when you're at that bottom end of the table, as well as the top end. You need a really good goalkeeper. And I feel like the more Karl's playing, he's coming into his own.
6 points to West Ham inside the bottom 3. Obviously, they'd want more, and the job's not done yet. But is it comfortable enough for this stage of the season, do you think?
I don't think it's ever comfortable until you hit that magic 40-point mark, as they talk about. I do think there's more to come from this Leeds team. I think if they do happen to achieve that points mark that keeps them safe, I think then they'll possibly take the handbrake off a little bit. I think there's still more in them. That
in terms of what, in scoring goals or creating more?
I think at times they're almost happy just to have a point, which is fine. You're surviving and every point counts, which is great. I think when they have opened up at times, they have been able to hurt teams, and I just think that there's that little bit of anxiety around the club at the minute that they need to be a Premier League team next year, and if they can keep continuing to get towards that points target before the end of the season, I really think you could see sort of them playing more freely and really kicking on.
So maybe more to come from Leeds United as they try and push towards that magic 40-point mark. It
means everything. I think we just want to win all our games on our side, and whatever Arsenal do, we just have to wait and see. But I think we just need to control what we can control, win our games, and we'll see what happens. But we're all happy.
Quite a few City players on their backs on the floor at the end of that game. How exhausting were that Leeds team to play against?
Yeah, very tough. They are a transitional team, up and down. They do it really well, and they made it tough for us in some moments. So what you saw last minute, it was just all the effort we put into that game and how tough they made it for us. So it was a great win.
A little bit about the celebration. I know your mum didn't want you doing the backflips anymore. So what's behind the guitar celebration?
Just a few friends said that I should do something funny, and that was
one game at a time. Recover now, start the real season. That many games, people tired, and when you play in teams like they are down or playing for Europe. So every game is really tough. Yesterday, Wolves won, so Premier League is more competitive than ever, and every game is a real battle. But it's important for them. We make an incredible step to qualify for the Champions League next season. It's the main target in the, for the club, because in the last 10 years always we have been there, and the only team in the Premier League, and we take a little bit gap. It's not done, but a big gap between the other teams, and this is the first step is massively important.
But historically, at this time of year, you've shown in the past that your teams really put their foot down now. And do you have every confidence that this is a team that looks like they're going to do that again?
I cannot less. So what happened in the past is the past.
Yeah. But what about this team now?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. You want to tell me what's going to happen in Nottingham Forest? I don't have an answer for that. So when we won 13 or 14 games in a row in the past to win the Premier League against Liverpool, I never know when we start this run we want to win 13 or 14 games in a row. It's just one game at a time. Now recover the people. We'll see. Have 3 days. And after we have a FA Cup, thank you so much to let us play at 8 p.m. instead of 3 p.m. because I've had less recovery to go to Madrid. So again, thank you so much. And this is what we had to live, but we're going to deal with that.
At full time, Daniel Farke was sent off. Can you tell us why?
I think I just had a short chat with him, so I think there were incidents, there were obviously time wasting the lot, so I felt like you could have even given a corner for counting down too long. There were several times. They got a yellow card in the added time. 6 minutes on, I think it's 5 seconds to go, and then you don't allow to put be sensible, come on, let them put the last ball in, and then of course you're emotional. I think that's what the game is all about as well. Yeah. So he runs on the pitch and says, "For what?" I think his question was, "For what?" And this is why he gets a sent off. But maybe it was for a too aggressive, harsh manner. But I think emotions are a big part in this game. And thinking back, he's the manager, so I'm working with him for a decade now probably. He rarely gets a sent off. The first one he got over celebrating last when we got promoted. So when he got the sent off, this is the second in his career. So normally he's never aggressive, never overreacting. And I think it's very harsh to do that.
One last question. There was a pause for Ramadan during the first half, at the end of the Ramadan fast of the day, and there was some booing in the crowd as well. What is your reaction to that?
Okay, really, So I'm focused on the games. I don't really pay attention to what's happening around it, but disappointed with some supporters if it happens, and we try to learn out of it.
I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Come on.
That was the Leeds United assistant manager Edmund Riemer reacting to some of those boos after some people were exercised by the fact that players took a drink break to mark the end of fast of Ramadan. Talking about the game itself, Ilya Gruev was with Johnny.
Ilya, it must be frustrating to come away with nothing after all the effort and the application your team put in today.
Yeah, it is really frustrating. I think it was a great atmosphere, great game from our side. I think we really had a chance to score at least one goal. I think the first 20-25 minutes we were really good. We were so onto them, and they felt it also. So really tough that we don't score, that we don't take our chances. Disappointing, really, because I thought, like I said, we played a really good game today. But we keep going. Next task is on Tuesday already.
It looked in that opening 30 minutes as if you'd really rocked City back. Was that the time you really needed to score?
Yeah, this was the time. I think we had 2-3 great chances, and we have to score at least one. Shouldn't be maybe this day, I don't know. But as I said, the first 30 minutes we were so onto them. Of course, you can't play like this 90 minutes. It's normal because it's exhausting and really hard because they have also so much quality. But how we approached this game and how we were prepared and everything, also how aggressive and motivated, I can only say big respect for all of us.
There was no good time to concede a goal, but did it feel really tough right on half-time?
Yeah, of course. It was a tough one because like 10 seconds to go and then you concede and then he blows the whistle. Was really tough because I think it's another thing if you go 0-0 in the half-time. So, yeah, wasn't the best moment.
You had to surrender maybe a bit more possession in that second half. Was it important then just to try and stay in the game as long as possible before the subs came on?
Yeah, of course. We look, when you play against City, normally they will have more the ball than you. It's quite normal in their game, but you know that you will have your chances, you will have your moments also where you can win some balls and then have good counterattacks. We had our situations. Also, it was really important to us to keep the game as long as tight as possible. Yeah. And then you can feel again the last 20-50 minutes we were pushing again, had some chances. It shouldn't be today.
What happened at the end there? It looked a bit tense on the pitch at full time with a few of the players and coaching staff. Can you shed any light on that?
Yeah, I think it's normal. It's emotions, you know. They want to win really bad. We also want to win. For both was a really exhausting game. Emotions involved. I think this is quite normal and okay from them and from us.
Thanks for your time, Ilya.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ilya Gruev relatively relaxed there despite that 1-0 defeat against Manchester City. It's the team who are 15th being beaten by the team who are in second place in the table. They have much bigger fixtures coming up. But that's the situation at the bottom of the table. They're 6 points above the relegation places. And this is who they've got between now and the end of the season, including the 6 points between them at the moment, that game against West Ham on the final day of the season. So we don't know what's going to happen between now and then. But they've got Wolves and Burnley in that time. They've got teams that may well, including Tottenham, be looking nervously over their shoulders. These are games that Leeds United can target in terms of not just getting the 3 points for themselves, but getting one over on the other teams who are trying to get out of danger.
Yeah, listen, you look at that and you think they should have enough to get over the line. I think certainly by the way they're playing as well. I think back throughout the season, they haven't really been outclassed in many games. You know, I know both Arsenal games, probably Brighton away was a really poor performance. But other than that, they've been really competitive. Away from home, they're not so good. We know that. But Daniel has been really clear from the start of the season that they will get the majority of their points at home. And they've proven that. Obviously, one win away from home all season isn't great, but they've six draws in there.
Have come in the last 7,
and they've had a lot of good
recent as well. Yeah.
They've had a lot of good performances away from home. You know, I think away to Brentford they should have got something. Away to Sunderland they should have got something as well. Newcastle were unlucky to come away with nothing. City away to Everton as well. So they've had some really good performances in there. But definitely them home games that you're looking at there are crucial. And let's hope it doesn't go to the final day of the season.
Well, some of us are neutral and quite like a little bit of last day drama, but I get that anybody involved emotionally in this will not want it to go right down until the last minute.